Please enjoy this message from David Arquette sent in by the fabulous Carrie Tenney.
Hey Ryan, how are you? Thanks for doing the Scream podcast.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
You are listening to Scream with Ryan C. Showers, the podcast for Scream fans just like you. Join Ryan every week as he takes a deep dive into the horror film series that defined the 90s and redefined the genre. Scream with Ryan C. Showers is your source for scene and quote analysis, character dissections, and the latest news about upcoming installments of the Scary Movie franchise.
I hear you like horror movies, Kirby, but do you like them as much as him?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. In the lead up to Scream 7, I couldn't be more grateful for everybody out there who listens to the show, who supports my podcast here, listening every episode, or on social media on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. If you would like to become a member of the podcast, come to the group Zooms, be on the show on a one-on-one or small group setting, consider joining the Patreon with Scream with Ryan C. Showers. In addition to the benefits of coming on the podcast, you can also join our social media groups, in particular on Instagram. That's the main hub of the podcast. I also do a monthly audio commentary of a Scream movie or a Scream-related film. From now through April, we are going to be having a new Scream movie audio commentary. So if you would like to hear my thoughts in an audio commentary form in the style of Wes Craven, Marion Maddalena, et al. Of the original trilogy, please consider subscribing and supporting the show. Thank you to every single person out there who subscribes on Patreon. So I need to thank TJ Jones, who does all of the graphic design work for the podcast, and Ashley Summers, who helps me produce the show every week. In addition, I need to thank everybody over at Patreon, including the Stab Investors and Daddy Ghostfaces. The Daddy/Mama Ghostfaces, they include Carrie Tenney, Corey Wilson, Andrew Dominguez, and Brett Janovich. I also need to thank all of my Stab investors. They include Amar Karim, Josh Carr, Ali, Tamika Jones, Christian Ranke, David D., Gustavo Mora, Jess Mariano, Joey Nabrini, aka The Vault, John Cardney, Josh Camillari, Scream Queens Podcast, both Josh and Justine, Kevin Abner, Mark Vieira, PW05, aka Philip Douglas, Roy Garza from the Hoodie Talks podcast, Ryan Not Dying Young, Sam Levy, and Stevie Shears. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I, of course, am your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for this big fucking Scream 7 episode. Like, this episode is one that I think we have been waiting to do for a while. A lot of us have been waiting to hear. We've been waiting to be in this moment. This episode is talking about the home stretch of Scream 7 marketing. We are officially in the month of February. In fact, you're going to be listening to this on the Scream 3 anniversary, February 4th. So happy anniversary to my baby Scream 3. We love Scream 3. And this means that we are so close, almost just 20 days away from seeing Scream 7. And there has been so much Scream 7 in the news over the past couple of days. It's almost too much to keep up with in terms of the volume of new Scream 7 content and marketing and just new items out in the world to consume and to be aware of. So, after a long drought of nothing, we are finally being bombarded with the marketing, as I said we would. And, before I introduce my wonderful guests here, I know a lot of us were, I'm not even going to say us because I wasn't included here, but people were concerned about the marketing and concerned about the lack of promotion in January, to which I said back then, just trust in Paramount. They're not going to let us down. And, we're sitting here on February 3rd and they sure as fuck have not let us down. I'm going to deem as this is the dorkiest thing I've ever said on the podcast. Not really. I've said some pretty annoying shit, but it is what it is. So this is a double A episode. So I have two of my favorite people to record this podcast with. Their names both start with A. So everyone, first, let's please welcome my friend, Anthony DePuzzo. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Ryan, how's it going? I'm so happy to be here to talk about all this marketing.
Yeah, me too. So, Anthony, I have something fun to share with you. I actually get compliments on you. I do. So, and this is going to make the second guest very, very jealous here. But so recently, two people in the last, I would say, 3 days, like over the weekend, since like Friday to now, have said, "Oh yeah, when Anthony's on your show, you guys sizzle, you guys just bounce off each other, you guys have a vibe, and it's really great." So I think it's true. I think I should keep you around.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that.
Well, Anthony, please tell everybody, besides at Scream with Ryan C. Showers, where they can find you online.
Hey, you guys can find me at my podcast. I do it to my friends Never Split Up Pod. It's all social media and YouTube. Come over and hang out with us.
Awesome. All right. And my second A, I usually start with him. Whenever we do group episodes, he always gets top billing, but I'm giving him the Courtney Cox and credit. And if you don't know what that means, we will explain it as when we talk about the Scream 7 poster. But everyone, please welcome and Amar Karim. Hey, Amar.
Hello, Ryan. Mr. Showers, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Are your feelings hurt that people are now commenting on Ryan and Anthony, not Ryan and Amar?
No, not at all, because I like Anthony, so that's a good thing. And I already know where I'm special in Ryan's heart, so I don't need to any more validation than that.
No, but you also get those compliments too. I mean, like people know Amar as like Ryan and Amar and like the dynamic of like all of those episodes that we have done and that we will do. So, I'm always happy to have you here, and it's so fun to be like going through Scream 7 properly with you as a part of all of these big episodes.
Well, thank you. I'm always, it's always a pleasure to be here, as you know, so excited.
So, and I have to just say, because like in the Instagram group a couple of weeks ago, I shared an image of Michelle Visage on Drag Race, and I said, "Oh, Amar looks great tonight." And our dear friend Sam Levy did not know what I was talking about, and I just want to underline it that like I am RuPaul and Amar is Michelle Visage, and this has been a running joke for 5 years. So,
Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know what Sam's talking about. How does he not know? Unless he does know and wanted a bit of attention, because you know I love attention. So
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
oh my God, guys, this week has been a whirlwind. So, the last time the three of us were together was with Jess when we reviewed the Scream 7 trailer back in November. So, I have to say, Monday, I think that was the most fun I've had as a Scream fan since back then, since the trailer came out. There was a rush about the days after the first trailer came out back in October and early November. And I think that like the only day to come close to that was on Monday, where we got the Super Bowl TV spot and a new poster featuring Neve Campbell in the style of Drew Barrymore in the 1996 poster. So, before we start talking about everything that we've gone through over the past couple of days, I just want to get your thoughts on like what you feel like now as a Scream fan, being like we are less than a month away from Scream 7. We have waited for this movie painstakingly for 3 years. Some of us would say we've waited for this specific movie with Sidney Prescott as the main character for 11 years, right? So how are we feeling right now going into the month of Scream 7? So Anthony, how you feeling?
I mean, the excitement's here. I'm so ready. The build-up's here. I've been online and everyone's excited. So they've been like literally calling out the studio and yelling like, "Where's the marketing? You don't care about this movie." I'm like, if you just look at the pattern of the other two movies, you know the month of release, they're going to go full out bananas. And literally, once the first Monday of February hit, that's exactly what they're doing. So I was never concerned. I knew that the studios like to build up, especially when you get close. If you did all this stuff, even 3 weeks ago, the excitement would be too high too early. So they know what they're doing. I'm happy that they shut everyone up. They're not abandoning the movie. They're going all out. But I'm so excited because my Scream is back and Neve Campbell's everywhere. We have Kevin Williamson. We have Courtney Cox popping up more in all the ads. And it's just a good time to be a Scream fan, especially an OG Scream fan. And I feel like they're showing a lot of stuff. Like they're just repurposing stuff we've already seen just because they are trying to keep some of the surprises, close to their chests. And I like that. I like that we're not seeing a bunch of spoilers like a lot of the 5 and 6 marketing. So I couldn't be happier going into February.
Well, so it's funny. Anthony and I have like a communication, like usually like when we're expecting some big news, we're like kind of like in touch, that morning. And it was so funny waiting for the second Scream 7 trailer to come that never came. But there were times I was like, Anthony, I'm going into a meeting. You need to be in charge. Please text me if we get it. So I just have to ask, we never did get a second full trailer. We did get a Super Bowl TV spot, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But are you sad, Anthony, that we didn't get the second full trailer like we did for Scream 6?
No, because we're going to get a final trailer the week of the release, just like 5 and 6. They're following the same exact formula. So I kind of had a feeling, again, the first full trailer came out, I was surprised they showed that much back on, right before Halloween. So I had a feeling that they were going to either give us a second trailer because everyone's going crazy like earlier, or just do the same pattern as 5 and 6. And they literally released those final trailers the week of release. So expect that, the week of February 27th to come out as well.
Well, Amar, what about you? How are you feeling?
I don't judge people, but I judge a Scream fan based on how excited you are. So if you look back at all the trailers from Scream 2, I have always been excited. Like Scream 2, wow, I'm looking forward to it. 3 came out, I was so excited. 4, 5, and 6. With this one, when the first trailer came out, I remember I saying to you guys that, oh, I think they've shown too much and blah, 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 and you rolled your eyes at me and stuff. And when, the funny thing is, Ryan and I were chatting, and when this came out, I quickly went onto it, and I got more excited than I did with the first trailer, even though they've kind of shown the same thing with a few extra scenes. And I just remember getting really giddy thinking, oh, February's here. And this is the month that we will get what I'm hoping is going to be a fantastic film. So that whole vibe, that teenager in me and that young 20-year-old when Scream, 3 and 4 came out, it's all coming back, and I realized that it doesn't matter what you think of the film prior to this one. You always have that excitement for a new Scream film because you want to go into that world of Ghostface and especially Sidney Prescott and Gale Weathers. So I was saying to Ryan the other day, I was like, you can't hear the elation in my voice because I was in the office, but I was just giddy like a child in a sweet shop, or as you guys would say, a candy shop.
Well, so Amar, why don't you tell everybody about whenever we found out about the news of the Super Bowl and the new poster.
So Ryan calls me up and he's like, oh, we got to make some discussions. And as we were talking about something in the future, we were like, he started talking about Gale Weathers and a few other things about Scream 7 and what we might expect. And he asked me a very deep question. So I started giving him, I was like, all right, I'm going to be really smart with my answer here. So I started giving him what I thought was a smart answer. And he's not giving me any response. And I'm like, okay, I hope he likes what I'm saying. And then I said, and I kept going and he just went, oh. And I was like, oh, that's all you've got for me? I'm like, oh my God, he does not like what I'm saying. And he goes, Amar, a new trailer's dropped. Let's go watch it. And I was like, oh, all right, then fine. We jumped off, ran to watch this trailer, and then came straight back on. And we were like, okay, what do we think? And then we were like, yeah.
I was like, Amar, I gotta go. I'll talk to you in 15 minutes.
I was like, have I offended him?
Yeah. No, but it was so cool. I was expecting something on Tuesday. I wasn't expecting it on Monday. It just caught me completely by surprise. I was kind of consumed by this fear about Gale Weathers that we could talk about maybe at the end of the episode. And I was talking to Amar about it, and it was just like my phone started blowing up. I was like, Amar, I don't mean to cut you off, but you're cut off. So let's talk about it, guys. So simultaneously, the Scream accounts released both the Super Bowl TV spot for Scream 7 and a new poster. Again, as I described earlier, it's black and white of Neve Campbell's face, and in the style of the Drew Barrymore poster, the iconic Drew Barrymore poster from Scream 1. And in the Scream 1 poster, of course, the hand is over Drew Barrymore's mouth. And in this poster, there's a knife, kind of like the Scream 6 posters in a way, that's in front of Neve's face. And Neve, who has brown eyes, it's a blue eye, kind of like Drew Barrymore in the original. So the poster is stunning. It is just like kind of jaw-dropping, and something I never would have expected this from Scream 7. It's kind of like that the logo in that TV spot from a few weeks ago that is in the style of the flashing Scream 1 logo at the beginning before the Drew Barrymore scene. I never would have thought that would have been the case, that we would see that, but it's such a nice homage to the original without feeling too pandering. And in addition, we learned some details about the cast and how they're credited in the film. But before we get to any of the details, let's hear what we think of the poster. Also, the tagline is "Face Your Past." So interesting. So, Amar, what did you think of the poster?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I like the fact that it does pay homage to the Drew Barrymore poster, and the fact that she has these piercing blue eyes just to make her face stand out. And I love the fact that there's almost like in the first one you see Drew Barrymore look shocked, but in this one Sidney looks determined almost. So yeah, I mean, I showed it to my daughter just today actually, Ryan, and she was just like, this is beautiful. And I was like, isn't it just? So yeah, it's giving me all the vibes that I want from this film. It's giving me excitement, so I can't wait.
Anthony, what are your thoughts on this new poster?
This poster is everything to me. It's gorgeous and exactly what I want. It's the perfect throwback to the OG Scream. I'm getting those Scream vibes, the OG Scream vibes, which I love. And it's just Neve Campbell front and center as she should be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how, and I'm happy that it's like, this is her story, this is her franchise, go. And the Face Your Past, obviously, that gives us some hints of what we're going to be dealing with in this movie. So I just think it's beautiful. I got chills just looking at it.
Yeah. It's interesting because Drew Barrymore was the opening victim, right? So yet she was also the biggest star. So it was this weird marketing ploy. And here I feel like there is such a spiritual honoring of Neve Campbell and Sidney Prescott both by making her that face. You know what I mean? She is the cell of the movie, but she isn't the opening kill. She is the main character. So there's something extra special about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting, folks. So there's a detail. Did you guys notice something different about this poster than we know about other details relating to the film? There's an inconsistency.
Well, I know because you told me, so I'll let you tell people.
Well, Anthony, do you know what I'm talking about?
I am not sure what you're talking about. Let's hear it.
So the release date on the poster, it says 2/26/26. Now, I mean, we were all going to see it on Thursday the 26th anyways, but the official release date, of course, is the 27th. So this poster is exclusive to a specific event. So, and this poster will actually be handed out as part of screenings of Scream 7, and it will be available to people if you go to AMC to see Scream 7 on Thursday, February 26th. It's called Scream 7: Opening Night Fan Event. It's 10 minutes longer than the normal film. So the normal film, the official runtime is 1 hour, 54 minutes. This is 2 hours and 4 minutes. You get this poster that was released, like a copy of it. I don't know how big it's going to be. I assume it's going to be like maybe 11 by 17 or something. But I highly recommend getting tickets to this as soon as they go on sale. By the way, tickets go on sale on Monday, February 9th. So set your calendars. But so this is going to be Thursday, February 26th at 6 p.m. So to me, I feel like this is even more special. I think it incentivizes all of the hardcore fans to see this on Thursday night. One, to avoid spoilers, but two, just to create the hype. And then hopefully they go again Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So I know, Amar, you will not be going because you guys don't have AMC over there. But Anthony, are you going to be going to this fan event on Thursday night?
I am. I'm excited. I'm actually, because I'm kind of lucky where I live, I'm going to take the trip to the city and I'm going to go to the AMC Lincoln Square IMAX, which is one of the biggest in the country. So I'm going to go for that fan event at 6 p.m. and I'm going to get tickets once they go on sale this coming Monday. So I'm going to make an event in a day out of, Scream 7 release day.
Wow, that is awesome. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Wait a minute. Well, this is not fair. Like, I was looking at our cinemas today, and just before we joined this recording, and nothing says the 26th for me. It's all the 27th. I'm like, this can't be happening unless there's a midnight showing. I hope there is, but I don't think
there will be.
Yeah, there better be.
Amar, you got to see Scream 6 before I did. You didn't? Wasn't it like out the day a day earlier?
Full day, a full day before you guys. Yeah. So but I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, we don't really have midnight screenings here, like on a Thursday, unless it's something huge like Marvel or whatever rubbish. But I mean, I like Marvel, but yeah, I'm hoping they're going to change their mind, but I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm a bit jealous, to be honest.
Well, you should be jealous. So, and I've actually changed my plans. So usually, like how the other Screams have gone, like Brent and I go like Thursday night, then Abby and I go Friday, and then my mom and grandma come, and we all go as a family on Saturday. I'm making the family go to the fan event, so that way, I can get, if there are 7 people in my party, I get 7 posters. So that's my that's my plan. Don't tell AMC. Okay, so this poster is not only an amazing advertisement for the film, not only an amazing advertisement for the specific screening of Scream 7, and, an advertisement for itself to actually receive the poster at the cinema for free. It told us a lot about the movie. So before we do that, but before we go into the credits of Scream 7, I want to read the names that are listed at the bottom and the order that they're in. So Scream has always been iconic for the alphabetical cast list of names. It's kind of gotten murky post Scream 4, but whatever. So here's how the cast list is named across the bottom of the poster. So of course we have Neve Campbell, then Isabel May, then Jasmine Savoy Brown, then Mason Gooding, then Matthew Lillard, then Joel McHale, and Courtney Cox. Those are the names that are pulled out and kind of like right below the Scream 7 logo and above the like huge block of like all of the credits. So before we go and talk about more specifics, what do we think about the names who are here versus the names who aren't here? Amar, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it surprises me that, well, again, I don't know in what context Matthew Lillard is being used, whether he's alive, whether it could be anything. Let's hope he's not alive. But it's interesting. it's interesting because he in the Scream world is obviously a big star. Drew Barrymore is a huge, I didn't realize how many people actually liked him. It's almost as much as Billy Loomis. I'm starting to notice in the last few years. But yeah, I mean, I suppose everybody else is important. You've got Sidney Prescott, you've got her daughter, you've got. Yeah. To be honest with you, Matthew Lillard was the one that surprised me the most because obviously you've got David Arquette coming back, you've got Scott Foley coming back. Perhaps his role or whatever it is just bigger than the rest. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, and here's the thing too. We basically have all the survivors plus Sidney's husband and daughter, and that's it. No Anna Camp. That shocks me. No Anna Camp. I mean, she's the biggest star of this new cast. I guess McKenna Grace too, but why not McKenna Grace? Interesting, right? But Matthew Lillard is shocking because he wasn't on the cast poster. So it's just like this weird inconsistency that's really stunning.
But I think that's clever marketing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You touched on that at the beginning of this recording, and I, for one, wanted to quickly say that me too, I was never concerned about it. In fact, I knew we would get something, and I just think that this is, a lot of people have noticed this, and I think it's just really smart to mess with us at the same time.
Because, I mean, like, even within the Patreon of Scream with Ryan C. Showers, oh man, there have been some conversations this week, and like people, I have more Stu people in my group than I thought. It's interesting. And not that that's a bad thing. I'm happy to have the diversity. But there have been some intense discussions in the Instagram group. I'm out, But anyway, so Anthony, what are your thoughts on these 7 names here that are picked out?
Yeah, as far as Lillard goes, it's pure marketing and marketing genius. I mean, people who are not like us day to day, like eating up these goodies, they can see this poster and look down like, wait, Matthew Lillard, what? Like, I got to go see this. What's going on? So that to me is very smart. And of course, you have to have Neve Campbell in front. Isabel May's the new lead. And then you pay respect to, the 5 and 6 legacy with Mason and Jasmine. And then obviously you're going to have Courtney Cox on the end. And Joel McHale is a new hubby. So I think those names make sense. But I think the reason we see Lillard and not the other killers or even Arquette is because it's like, whoa. Like, he's big now, and it's like, what's this? I got to go check this out. It's Stu Macher. Like, what's going on with this? We have to go see Scream 7. You know what I mean?
Well, and it is kind of like the perfect trolling, right? It's like, holy shit, his name is popped out. I mean, like, he must be alive. I mean, or he's a huge part of the movie. That's to be determined. But it's just a fun way of fucking with people, in my opinion.
I saw this. I mean, when Anthony was saying that, I was like, yeah, I saw it today. I saw 3 different comments on 3 different platforms where people had said, oh, Matthew Lillard is back. I must go see this now. And these obviously aren't like big Scream fans, I assume. And I just thought, wow, that is really smart. So
at the time of this recording, we do not have the character posters. So we got character posters for Scream 5 and 6. Each character gets their own individual poster. In Scream 5, they were holding the mask. And then in Scream 6, they were holding the knife with Ghostface on it. We don't know what the Scream 7 one's going to be, but I will be interested to see who gets a character poster and if his name is Matthew Lillard. I think that they have to give him one. You don't think, Anthony?
I don't think so. I think they're going to go with the people who are, alive, quote unquote, alive and in this new installment, and then they're going to have to save some goodies. Almost like they're going with like the Spider-Man approach. I feel like we never got Tobey Maguire. We never got Andrew Garfield confirmed. We're getting his name, but you get to come see the movie to see in what capacity. So I think they're going to play that close to themselves. I don't think they're going to give him a whole character poster. I don't think they're going to be David Arquette one, Scott Foley. I think that they're going to hold some surprises, but the character poster, as far as like Anna Camp and everyone being underneath the big names, I think it's smart because we just got that character poster and everyone was on it. So people can see those characters if they want, but this one, it's like, let's focus on Sid and then, whoa, these big names of the new movie.
Did it surprise anybody else? And I'm not trying to be shady because I'm grateful that they're in this movie. I feel very warm to them. This is the warmest I've ever felt to one of these 2 people. Was it shocking to anybody else that the twins were on here in these names? In some ways, I mean, like, it makes sense to me, I guess, right? But then another way, I'm kind of like, ooh, that's kind of surprising. I don't know.
No, I wasn't. I think that, like I said, the name that surprised me was Matthew Lillard. I just think that you have to give them some credit that because they are legacy characters now. They've been through 5 and 6, and they've come through on this, and they're with Gale. So they deserve their place on the name list. I think personally.
Anthony?
No, I mean 5 and 6, whether you love them or not. I mean, I love all of them. Obviously, my feelings on those last 2 installments are not my favorite, but I love them still. But they are super successful, and people who see their names like it's still the same continuity of 5 and 6. Let's go see that. So it just makes sense to have them on there. Again, They know what they're doing. Everyone who was doubting them, they know what they're doing with marketing, Paramount. So yeah, they have to be on there. It makes sense.
Yeah. And I want to bring up what Anthony said. I want to save that for when we talk about the Kevin Williamson featurette that was released last week, which was, oh my God, like like
So
100%
good.
A plus. I've no notes, but okay. So let's continue with the poster. So some interesting things if you look and read the credits here. So Amar, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember we actually did this exact exercise back with Scream 5? Whenever we got the trailer for that, we went through and I read, and that's whenever I noticed it says with Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and
Yep.
Neve Campbell, and that was our moment. We were like, ooh, wow, they're not in this movie that much.
Yep.
Okay, so the credits say a Kevin Williamson film. Neve Campbell, before the quote Scream 7, this is groundbreaking. No other actor has ever had their name ahead of the title of the movie. It's always been, a film by Wes Craven, Scream 2, Scream 3, David Arquette and Neve Campbell on the cast ensemble. So the fact that Neve Campbell has her name ahead of the Scream 7 credit, oh my fucking God. Like, I know this sounds like we are like this may be the most boring podcast ever. We're literally talking about cast names, but this is contract negotiation genius. I'm so proud of Neve Campbell to have her name ahead. It just sends not only the best signal of this is that Sidney is the main character, but a more commanding message this is Neve Campbell's movie. I feel like I'm in the grasp of Neve Campbell. Anthony, what are your thoughts?
I mean, look, she valued herself, and look at how much it paid off. She's everywhere. She had her name on here 3 times, actually, on this poster. She has her name 3 times on the poster. She's the face of it. She's the star. So even creatively and business-wise, she's a lead. She's in, I would assume, 90% of the movie, and she's all over this poster. I mean, good for her. She waited for what she deserved, and this, I don't care what anyone says, just like Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, Vin Diesel, Fast and Furious, this is her franchise, and she got what she deserved, and I couldn't be more happy for it, and it made me giddy to see her name before the title. She's the star.
I have chills just right now thinking about this. Oh my God, it's so crazy. Amar, do you share our enthusiasm?
The same, exactly. I mean, when you guys were speaking, I was just nodding because I was like, "There's no notes for you guys. It's exactly the same." That you hit the nail on the head. This is her franchise. Who would have thought that when Scream 6 came out and she didn't come back for it, and we were upset by it. I was upset. Like, wow, well, Sidney is the face of Scream, and people are like, well, is she though? She's past her prime and all of that. And Kevin Williamson has come back and said, well, actually, let me prove you guys wrong, and let me smack her name right at the beginning, and that's huge. So
all right, we need to make predictions here before we go any further with the credits. All right, Neve Campbell's screen time. Is she gonna have her most, her second most? Where is it going to fall? So just as a recap, her screen times in the first 5 films are Scream 1, she has 44 minutes. Scream 2, she has 37. Scream 3, she has 33. Scream 4, she has 27. And Scream 5, she has fucking 12. So do we think that if she tops herself, she could probably even top Melissa Barrera in Scream 6. Melissa has 1 or 2 minutes more than her in Scream 6. She could have the most of any character in any film. So where do we predict it's going to fall? For me, it's really tough for her to beat Scream 1, but I'm going to say she does. I'm going to say this is the most screen time she's ever going to have. Anthony, what say you?
I was going to originally say it's going to fall in between 1 and 2. But I'm making a bold prediction. I'm going with you. I think this is going to be her biggest presence in the entire franchise, the more I see and the more I hear from Kevin. And I think that we're going to be surprised that she's going to beat it by at least a minute or two. She's going to have, 45 to 50 minutes of screen time.
Oh my God, Amar.
Yeah, I was what's Scream 1 again?
44.
So I'm going to say 47 minutes. Yeah, because
that sounds right to me.
If the film is 1 hour 54, she must have at least nearly 50 minutes of that, because you're going to have the opening scene. And yes, we've got loads of other characters, but I just don't see anybody else except Isabel May having quite a lot of screen time. But I expect Sidney to be in quite a lot of scenes. So, yeah.
I don't think Isabel May is going to be close to her, though. I think it's going to be for comparison, how Neve and Courtney are in Scream 2. Neve has 37, Courtney has 22. I think it's going to be distance like that, but Isabel will still have a healthy amount, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go through the other cast here. So, Neve Campbell, quote, Scream 7. Then, this is the one thing. Me as a Wes Craven purist, I feel like we have to fully let go of the alphabet. And it's really tough because I'm so used to the alphabet. We started with David Arquette. This is not alphabetical, guys. I'm freaking out. I sound like such a crazy person. It's crazy. Okay, so Isabel May, Aspen Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Neve Camp, David Arquette. Oh my God, can you believe that? David fucking Arquette. Michelle Randolph, Jimmy Tatro, Kenna Grace, Lisa German, Celeste O'Connor, Sam Reckner, Mark Consuelos, Timothy Simons, or no, it says Tim Simons. Interesting. With Matthew Lillard, with Joel McHale, and Courtney Cox. So, I've never seen a movie poster with two withs, with Joel McHale, with Matthew Lillard. I've never seen that before. In Scream 5, it was with Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and Neve Campbell. So very weird. I don't know. That's my big takeaway, other than, of course, David Arquette being here. So what are our thoughts, Amar?
I'm just excited. I mean, just to listen to all those names gives me chills. It really does. And it's a good cast. I mean, there's some actors in there that I'm not aware of, but the fact that you've got Anna Camp, Mark Consuelos, I know, David Arquette's name's in there. It's a shame Scott Foley's didn't appear, but, it is what it is, I guess. They can't have everybody in there.
It kind of hurt my feelings that Matthew Lillard and David Arquette were there, but not Scott Foley. I'm just like, so there it is. There's Kevin's revenge against Scream 3. I see.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing.
But no, I mean, you know what? The more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm thinking about the poster, the cast list. I'm excited, and I don't want to overhype it. I expect great things, but I'm gonna rein it in a little bit. I really am giddy about this film, and I don't normally wish time away, but I'm like, hurry up, 27th of February.
I will say, before I pass it to Anthony, I think it's amazing to me that almost every single actor, besides Scott Foley and any other surprise cameos, are here, because the other posters, they maybe left a third of the people off. Like if you go back and read Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 5, not everyone is listed. Not especially the younger cast. Usually it's the veterans and the young stars that are listed. And here, almost every single fucking actor in this movie is here. So that's great. But Anthony, what say you?
I mean, this cast ensemble is amazing, and it made me so giddy and happy to see David Arquette. He deserves to be on this, especially in a return to form with Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox. So that made me the most happy. I love that Neve Campbell is the face of it, and then Courtney Cox bookends it, because again, to me, it's always their franchise. And this is just a banger cast. And I think as far as Scott Foley goes, that was intentional too, because they're like, well, come and see, there might be another few people we left off, wink, wink. Even if there is or isn't, it just, again, piques that curiosity to see who else did we leave off that might be in it. So that was very intentional. And we obviously, I would assume that all these, dead characters are quick cameos. But again, we don't know. But it's smart to leave certain people off to keep them guessing, keep all of us guessing, and be like, oh, can't wait.
So you want to know my theory on this?
Yes, please.
I think that in the end credits, I think that all the people I listed are going to have their own title card, their own singular name. But, and we often see this, especially in Wes's films. I guess Radio Silence did it too, because they whatever. Okay. So, sorry. Can't help it. So I think that we're going to get Scott Foley and the other cameo people or person, Scott Foley +1 or +2 of the old killers who are AI'd. I think that they're going to be sharing the screen. So let's just say it's not going to be Emma Roberts. I don't think Emma Roberts is in the movie, but let's just say Scott Foley and Emma Roberts, if they were both featured in this sequence or whatever as AI, I think it will be Scott Foley and Emma Roberts together on the same title card. So what do you think of my theory, Anthony?
Yeah, I think Lillard's going to have his own, and Arquette's going to have his own, but I do think Foley and whatever other surprise we have will share the screen, because I think they're really going to be, very little surprises. But yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Amar?
Plausible. Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably what it's going to be.
So just as we're on the subject, we're making little soft predictions here. Who do we think will be in the movie besides Scott Foley, David Arquette, and Matthew Lillard? This is kind of your final opportunity to predict. And what say you?
I think it would be smart to have Emma Roberts because of the familial connection, and Scott Foley too, but I really want Timothy Olyphant to show up, and it's so bad. But safest prediction to me was actually Emma Roberts, but what I really want is Timothy Olyphant. But yeah, I think it'd have to be someone from obviously the original trilogy, because that's what impacted Sidney the most.
I think anybody who's predicting Mikey Madison or Jack Quaid.
No, that's not happening.
Get the fuck out of here, okay? Amar, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I never thought about it. I thought whoever they've already told us is going to be in it that's what we're going to get. We're not going to get a surprise. But now that you guys have started this, you know what? Let's be crazy and let's just say Mrs. Loomis. Why not? Because that, she's the one that, came back for her son. Why not? I mean, if you guys can say Emma Roberts, I'll say that. But I don't think it will be anybody else, though. But I'd love to see Mrs. Loomis.
Well,
that's smart, though, because Skeet confirmed he's not in it. So that could be the connection to him of who pops up. So that actually makes me think a little bit now that you said that.
And we have the Scream 2 representation if Laurie Metcalf is in the movie. So I think that it would be behoove them to have done Laurie Metcalf. So I guess we will see. So cool. Well, guys, anything? Oh my God. I was about to wrap up the poster and head on over to the TV spots, but we forgot one of the most important details of the poster. Oh my God. So on the poster, there are listed about 17 executive producers. I'm teasing, not 17, but close to it. So I'm going to read out the executive producers and I'm going to scream whenever. I'm not going to scream because I'm becoming, but everyone who's listening, you can gay scream or straight scream, whatever you are. So, or lesbian scream, Okay, so executive producers, Kevin Williamson, Gary Barber. I know that one makes a lot of people happy, but it is what it is. Okay, so Kevin Williamson, Gary Barber, Chris Stone. Who the hell is Chris Stone? Okay, drum roll. Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox. Oh my God. So then someone named Ben Ordman. Who the hell is that? Ben Fast. Okay, I know him. Kathy Conrad. We all know her. My good friend. Not my good friend. I know her. She's very nice and I love her. Marianne Maddalena. And then we have Matt Bettinelli Opland, Tyler Gillette, and Chad Fiella. What do we think, guys? Oh my God. Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell are both executive producers on Scream 7. This just feels like the crowning achievement for them. I know it's the ceremonial role, but it's really important. Courtney Cox had it for Scream 6. Frankly, all three of the trio should have had it from Scream 3 or Scream 4 on. Here we are. So, Anthony, what say you?
I mean, it's how it should be. I think as far as Courtney Cox goes, I would say she did give a little as far as like saying, we need David Arquette in these movies. So that's her input. And obviously it's just, like you said, ceremonies for the most part. But I think she did give a little input. As far as Neve Campbell goes, obviously it's a great business deal. But I do think that her and it was Kevin's doing a lot. And her and Kevin had a very, 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 very strong creative partnership and really made this movie together creatively, and she had just as much input as him. So I do think that obviously our girl earned that creatively and financially.
I'm going to just go out and say this just between us and the thousands of people who are listening. I feel like Neve Campbell deserved a full producer credit. I know it's executive producer. That's a huge accomplishment and I'm proud of her and I'm proud of Courtney Cox. And I think that it's important that I bet they're going to be from here on out for Scream 8 and 9. I assume they're going to be executive producers, but I feel like Neve Campbell, she saved this production. She brought so many of the pieces together. We wouldn't be here without her and we wouldn't be here without Kevin, of course. I think that Neve was so instrumental, more than we even know, in terms of even just the day-to-day decisions and kind of keeping things rolling and again being the leader. I think she earned a full producer credit. I don't know how that would have been accomplished, but I'm happy that both Neve and Courtney got them. So Amar, what say you?
Right, I'm gonna ask you a question for those people that don't really know. What is the difference between an actual producer and an executive producer? Do you know?
Yeah, from my understanding, executive producer is kind of a ceremonial role. They're not like on the ground making decisions, important decisions day to day, whereas producers are the opposite. They're the ones who are kind of in the field. If there's a problem, they have to fix it. They're part of the creative process and they have a stronger hand. Anthony, do you have anything you want to add?
No, that's 100% right. Yeah, producers are in the day-to-day, like part of the movie. An executive producer, like Radio Silence, had nothing to do with this movie, but it's a credit to them. Like, hey, thanks for everything. You're getting that producer credit. So it's kind of just, the more involved producer versus executive producer is just like, hey, we're on the poster reporting.
Okay, well, and that's still important then. So I get what you're saying because like you said, Ryan, I was unaware at the start about how much input Neve Campbell really had, and I remember Courtney Cox saying that, oh no, we need to get David Arquette back. And I remember her saying that, these two, look, they've got star power. They've been in this franchise from the very beginning and they deserve this minimum. So it's nice to see that they're on there, to be honest. And they're obviously being acknowledged for it. So good for them.
With this poster, let's just wrap this up here. I think, and I don't want to be hyperbolic and I don't want to be recency bias, because I loved the first poster. The first poster, so guys, get this. I was able to get 2 posters of Scream 7 with the whole cast on it. And like, it's the real poster. It's not like some cheap knockoff crap. It is like the double-sided poster that they would put up in the movie theater with the special light. I got one for my mom's house and one for Brent's house. I'm thrilled. So they're so cool. I love that poster. I love this one too. I think they're about equal. I think they're both special and beautiful in different ways. But any final thoughts here on the new poster we got?
I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorites of the entire franchise. Obviously, it's hard to beat the OG trilogy because that's just my life. But I mean, this is exactly how it should be. I even love, we didn't comment on the bottom left corner, the little 30 with the ghost face. It's literally, this is a celebration of who the franchise is about and how long the franchise has been with us. Just a celebration of Scream for 30 years. And yeah, it's one of my favorites of the franchise. I do like it more than the first poster, but that one was still fun. See everyone on there and, Courtney, Neve, all front and center too. But this is what Scream is to me. It's Sidney Prescott.
It's very classy too. Like I
Yeah.
think I look at this and I think maturity. I think of sophistication. Amar, what say you?
You've just stolen the word out of my mouth. Sophistication. That's it. It's a very sophisticated poster. But the one with the cat. See, I like them both equally for different reasons. And I know that people have said, "Oh, well, the first poster is very much like the Avengers films and stuff like that." So what? It looks absolutely insane. It's a fantastic. I love them both for different reasons. So.
Okay, well, so let us now transition to the other big news that we got on Monday, along with the poster. So again, I can't believe that they released them both at the same time. I mean, I can believe it, but it was kind of overwhelming. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So we got the Super Bowl ad for Scream 7. This was speculated for months that Scream 7 would have a Super Bowl advertisement. Scream 6 had one, and obviously this is an important piece of marketing. It's probably the single most important piece of marketing because of the volume of people that watch the Super Bowl, the volume of people that watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. It's just an amazing way to reach the general public, which I think, again, is Scream 7's number one objective, is to get people who aren't online, who aren't on Twitter, to the cinema to see Scream 7. That is the number one priority. And this accomplishes that. So it's really exciting. I actually think a lot of people will say that they prefer the Super Bowl ad to the main trailer. So let us talk about it. So in the Super Bowl ad, we saw a lot of scenes that we had previously seen. We've seen some alternate shots or some like before or after shots that we saw from the first trailer, some extended shots, but we also namely got to see Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell doing an interview as Sidney and Gail. And Gail is interviewing Sidney about her legacy and the fact that Tatum is the same age that she was back in the original. There's an extended version of that scene in one of the several TV spots that have been released where Sidney says, "I don't want to talk about my kids," and kind of cuts Gail off, and you can sense some tension between the two of them. But the TV spot is filled with a bunch of new footage. We see some new footage of like Sidney talking to Gail, and she says something to the effect of like, "I have to end this. I have to be the one to stop this." And we see Sidney at the mental institution. We see a bunch of new stuff. So, Amar, what did you think of the TV spot for the Super Bowl?
Well, as you were talking, I quickly put it on just to see all the bits. See, it was on mute, but I had the captions playing, and she goes, "This isn't going to stop unless I stop it." That's what Sidney says. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I love. What I love, again, I moaned about the first trailer that, they give too much away. But what I've loved about this one is, even though they've given us the same scenes, they're extended or a different angle, and it makes it look like a completely different trailer almost. And even with the opening scene in the old Stumacher house, and then obviously you see Celeste, you see someone dangling. We can make speculations about who these people are. And it's just, even the bit where the guy is covered in plastic and then stabbed, it's brutal because it lingers on Ghostface and then he comes in for the second stab. And it just gives me so many vibes I can't explain. I'm just like, just give me the film already. You're teasing me so much, and I can't wait till the 27th. But I loved everything about it, and I love the fact that it was a lot of new information, but not too much, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to point out about what you're saying too is like I see a difference in the coloring from trailer 1 to trailer 2. Obviously, films undergo color correction kind of at the late stage after the film's kind of set and they've done everything they need to do with the editing. And I can definitely see it, especially that one shot of her. Like in the trailer, it's the first shot we see of Sidney in the first trailer where there's like light behind her. I think they're in her kitchen. Same shots in here. And the color looks completely different. It looks gorgeous. Did you notice?
Yeah, well, I noticed the Isabel May scenes in the dark, when she's running through the streets. In the first one, it looks very dark, but it's very orange in this. Like there's a street lamp above her, and it brings out her character and her expressions and stuff. So I definitely noticed it on her. And now that you've mentioned it on Sidney, yeah, I can see what you're saying. But you know what? It just looks like such a beautiful film. And obviously, we're biased because we love the whole franchise and we love the whole world. But I'm getting super excited for it now.
I'm going to do something in concert here as I go to Anthony. There was a featurette released about Kevin, which we're going to talk about in a minute, where there is this amazing, incredible, stunning, masterful shot of a character hanging in a weird position. We can surmise that they have been killed and that they're hanging in the school auditorium. And then it looks like cops flood into the dark auditorium with flashlights. That shot from the Kevin featurette is repeated here in the Super Bowl ad. And it just, to me, I just want to kind of linger on this moment for a minute. I'm stunned by this cinematography and this artistic suave that Kevin has deployed here as a visual person. I mean, having only directed Teaching Mrs. Tingle and then to do a shot like that, there's so much thought that went into that shot. I would love for anybody to show me a screenshot of any better view, any better frame from Scream 5 and 6. Please show me, because it doesn't exist. So Anthony, with that being said, feel free to take that shot or anything about the TV spot.
I mean, that shot is beautifully chilling and haunting. It gave me chills seeing the body like strung up at that, and then Ghostface in that lighting too. I mean, it's perfection. It gave me chills. I cannot wait to see that scene play out. It's going to be terrifying, but you're not going to want to look away. As far as the Super Bowl ad goes, I think it's so smart for Paramount to do this. I mean, exposure to the general public. This is what's going to bring people in. I'm not saying that Scream 6 is the highest grossing opening weekend because they had a Super Bowl ad, but I mean, it worked for that. So let's keep that trend going. Let's keep that going. I love that it says fear hits home. I love how that's what the, little tagline in the spot is, because it feels so particular and contained to Sidney and her fight to protect her family, whereas in 6 we just did this big bombastic frantic let's run around the city, so I like that it's going back to let's keep it contained and let's really get under the skin. I love the throwback to the OG where we see the coffee door is shut and it says curfew. In the OG there's obviously a curfew, but they all go to a party. Now we get to see in this one the streets are empty and Tatum's running through the streets and no one's there to help her. That to me is terrifying. I love how Kevin kind of flipped his writing on its head with that, using it how he did the original versus this. I mean, every scene with Sidney, just looking at Tatum alone, Neve's acting, just her looking at her, I'm like, I feel her love for her and I feel her protective mama bear nature and her pain too. So I love, obviously, I mean, I never thought I'd be excited to see a scene of 2 actors doing an interview, but we've been waiting 30 years for Sidney to give Gail an interview. So that got me giddy. I just think it's fantastic. And I agree with you guys said that the fact that they just repurposed the sequences to show us different angles and different shots instead of showing us completely different scenes, so smart. And I do think these just felt more intense. Like Amar said, when Ghostface is attacking, it felt brutal. So I think this is A+ my book and it got me amped.
Yeah. No, I am a fan of that original trailer. Everything that I said in that episode, I stand by it. Some people have said it's not that good. Yes, it is that good. Fuck you. As my friend Gail Weathers would say, I think this is equal. I think this is a perfect ad for the Super Bowl because there's a lot of cool horror shots. There's a lot of cool shots that indicate both, this is an artful movie, but also this is an entertaining as shit movie. And I think when you check both of those boxes and then sell, this is Neve Campbell, Sidney Prescott, and her daughter, and you sell, there's the storyline behind it. There's already a sense of mystery in this. Like they're kind of like probing this psychiatric ward and like Sidney kind of taking to action, right? That she wants to solve it. And you have Courtney Cox in there. I just get a strong sense of the plot of Scream 7, even though we don't know the plot, right? We still have a sense that there's a real story here. And I think that people are attracted to story. I don't think people just want emptiness. They don't just want empty spectacle like some would argue Scream 6 is, where it's just, set piece after set piece after set piece. They want a real story. And that's something that I think Scream used to really do well. And I think that it comes across even within these 58 seconds that we have in the Super Bowl ad.
You know what else I find quite genius, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from the first trailer and this 60-second, even the Kevin featurette, we don't really hear any other character speaking. We don't hear Mark, we don't hear McKenna Grace or Celeste or anyone. And I like that it just concentrates on, we don't even hear Chad and Mindy. Forget anybody else. We get a bit of Gail. We get, Isabella May's character, Tatum. And then we get Sidney Prescott, a lot of Sidney Prescott. Obviously, we've got Ghostface and you can hear Matthew Lillard and David Arquette in the background of some of them. But just quickly going back to the cinematography of that scene of what looks like a very broken, crooked body dangling from these cables. Just before that scene, you see Ghostface looking up, and it's very quick, and you can see blood dripping from what I assume is a foot. And I was just like, I cannot wait to see how that plays out. Just that scene itself. We can all speculate. I mean, someone said, and I'm going to quickly quote this, "Oh, look, there's Mindy." And I was just like, please, that clearly isn't Mindy, right? And I remember just burst out laughing. I was like, yeah, that's not Mindy. You said that Kevin Williamson has only directed Teaching Mrs. Tingle and now he's got this, but don't forget he was always on set, whether he was on set for all the Scream films, whether he was on set for Vampire Diaries or Dawson's Creek or whatever he's done, he's always been there. So clearly he's been absorbing stuff and decided, I can do this, and it's his baby. And I just, for the first time, and I never said that I didn't have faith in Kevin Williamson, but I was a bit skeptical because I was like, he's never really directed much, and it's different when you're actually in that chair. But now looking at that, I'm like, he knows what he's doing. Surely he must. And he's going to give us something to appreciate in this film. I can tell already.
Well, so just to put a fine point on the TV spot and its impact, because I don't think we can talk about the marketing without talking about the accomplishments here. Later in the episode, Amar and Anthony and I are going to give some soft box office predictions, or at least where our head is at with the box office. It's hard because there is so much noise around Scream 7. It's almost impossible to have an objective opinion about Scream 7 and its box office, because if you know enough about Scream 7, you probably are predisposed to having a bias, in one way or the other, in terms of wanting it to succeed or wanting it to fail. But then the people outside don't understand certain things that could impact the box office too. So in my opinion, we aren't really going to know how the box office does until it comes in Sunday, March 1st, right? The actual results. Because I think everyone's too invested, or the spidey senses around the politics of Scream 7 are too high. That being said, here is an objective metric that we can use as evidence to support our claims if we are in the camp that want it to do well and think it's going to do well and have faith that it is going to do well. Scream 7 received 1.2 million views on YouTube for the big game spot. So the TV spot that we're discussing, again, it's about 57 seconds, and it received 1.2 million views in one day, okay? Meanwhile, Scream 6 also had a Super Bowl big game spot from February of 23 to February of 26. It has received a grand total of 652,000 views, compared to 1.1 million views for Scream 7 in 24 hours, and we're going on 1.5 million total as of 2 days. So this means that Scream 7 in one day doubled the number of views that Scream 6 had for its Super Bowl spot. So to me, I can't help but see how anybody could argue that the interest isn't there, that Scream 7 has the capture of the moment, that people want to see Sidney Prescott back as the main character, and people are, genuinely curious about this movie, and that this was a fucking awesome TV spot that other people, are watching probably again and again and again. Double. That is insane. Anthony, thoughts?
It just shows that the excitement's there no matter what the small minority is saying, the loud minority is saying. Excitement's there. People are excited to see the Scream that they know and love and to see this movie again, and that the marketing is doing its job. So as simple as that. And I'm not saying that it's going to translate into opening like so much bigger than 6, but clearly it's not doing the opposite and doing anything less as far as viewers on the marketing goes. So these are all good signs for us and the movie, and people are excited to go to the theater to see another Scream movie, bottom line.
And imagine if they were reversed. Imagine Scream 6 would have gotten 1.2 million views in the first 24 hours. Scream 7 went with only a couple 100,000 views over weeks up until the release. The Melissa people and the Scream 6 people would be mocking that, It just, in my opinion, like, you can like Scream 5 and 6, you can respect those movies, you can enjoy them, you can have them as part of your franchise, whatever, but I don't see how any objective person can deny that it feels right, to quote Sam herself, that Sidney Prescott is back as the main character. That was shade. I don't care. Amar, ignore the shade and tell me what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'll ignore the shade. No, I agree with you. And I was very nervous when because again, I need to remember that the world doesn't just live on social media. And obviously we live in a Scream bubble, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or whatever. So we get to see all those people. But outside of that, Scream has always been quite big. Even now I have cousins that are like, oh, there's a new Scream film. Okay, Sidney Prescott's back. I'm like, yeah, okay, we're going to watch that. I'm like, good, you should. And this is all positive news, especially with the views that we're seeing, with the hype, with people outside of the Scream fandom, making comments on different platforms. And like I said, posters coming in. And I remember going to watch a film a couple of months back, and we were at one of the cinemas, and obviously I knew that Scream 7 was coming out, and someone was walking past, I think it was Avatar maybe, and as they were walking past, I said, oh, look, Ghostface, there's a new Scream film. And I was like, you know what, this will help. Everything helps. And I'm excited for it. I want it to do, of course I want it to do well. I was happy when Scream 6, made so much money. I was happy that Scream 5 was a success. I was very upset when Scream 4 didn't make over 100 million worldwide. I was like, why? Why didn't it deserve so much more? So, it doesn't matter what people think. about the politics of what's been happening over the last couple of years. This should be an entertaining film. People have worked on this. Neve Campbell is back. Obviously, I love Melissa Barrera, but at the end of the day, Scream is Sidney Prescott. We can't deny that, So I want it to do well, and I hope it's a good film, and I hope people turn up for it, and they'll give them an incentive to make another one.
But since we're kind of on the topic of money, let's just go there. What are we thinking in terms of box office now? So I did a segment maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago discussing the box office. There were some projections by like these two websites, and I kind of tore them to shreds, as they should have been. And I feel much better today than I did that day making a prediction, because back then we still didn't have a whole lot of marketing. The marketing wasn't up and running, and both of those projections kind of made me feel small in a way. I think that they were still worthy of criticism, but having two projections that both felt low did not make me feel good. Today, I feel very great. I feel like I'm flying, even though we're just coming off of a huge win for Rachel McAdams this past weekend with Send Help, a movie that was kind of modestly marketed. It was by Paramount, and it made $20 million, and it was the buzz of the moment. And it was horror. It was Sam Raimi. If that can make $20 million, without really trying hard, I think Scream 7 is in really good shape when there is a huge fan base. It is a marketable IP, a recognizable name and image in Ghostface, and the return of Neve Campbell. And, it's building. I feel like, if Scream 7 is becoming an event, I feel that. I didn't necessarily feel like it was becoming an event 3 weeks ago. I feel the event is building now. Like, I think there's just been so much marketing over the past couple of days, and we're really seeing the film come together and the buzz really materialize. I think that it is becoming an event. So I think that the box office is in great shapes. Before I turn it over to Amar and Anthony for predictions, I had a conversation with Joey Valisi, and he said, he asked me, well, how about 30 million? And I said, well, if it made 30 million opening weekend, it would be disappointing to me, just because Scream 5 made that in the pandemic, in the height of the Omicron variant. And, I'm not going to lie, making 44 million that Scream 6 did, that scares me. That's a lot. I think that Scream 7 can do it, but it's not a sure thing. It's so unpredictable. I don't even know where I'm going to fall in this conversation. So Anthony, Amar, please help me. Let's start with Anthony. What do you think in terms of opening weekend box office as of now?
Yeah, again, I agree with you said. The studio's starting to make it feel like I predicted the month of release. It's going to be an event. We didn't even get press interviews yet or anything. And that's going to come even closer. We just have pure, marketing from the movie itself. So we have so much more to go, so much more featurette, so much more interviews with the cast and crew. It's going to blow up. They're going to make it the event of February. This and Wuthering Heights are the two big movies of the month, hands down. I would love, again, like you were talking about biases, I'm like, I want this to open at like 60 million crazy, and I do, but domestically that's not going to happen. It's just a different landscape. But I will say my range is going to be 40 to 50, and just because I want this to kill it, I'm going to go 45. I think it has the ability to do 45. For some reason, I feel the sweet spot's in between 40 and 45, but I'm going 45. I think it has the ability to do it. And we haven't even seen, the marketing ramp up to the point where like 6 did, 2 weeks prior to release. So we're getting there. But I'm going to go 45 million domestic.
Amar, what say you?
Okay, so I'm not really good with all this box office prediction stuff, right? So I'm just going to go with, I didn't even realize that Scream 6 made 44. That's pretty impressive, actually. I totally forgot that it did that much. Right, okay, Scream 7 is getting IMAX as well, right?
Yes.
Yes.
First movie ever to get IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think I don't know what it's like in America, but people in the UK love IMAX, especially in the first week. And I think Scream will only have it for a week. Unless something else comes out, it might have it for 2. So I'm going to now, with that in, I'm going to stick with 40 to 45. It has to make that much at least. Whether it will be more than 6, I'm hoping so. I want to say 50, but I'm just going to try to be a bit of a realist and just go with 40, 45. Yeah.
So, okay, yes or no? No other explanation. Does it make more than Scream 6? As of today, February 3rd, 2026. Anthony, does it make more than Scream 6?
I'm going yes, baby. Let's make it happen.
You
Amar?
mean overall box office, right?
At least the opening weekend.
I'm going to say no, just to be on I'm going to say no. I want it to, but I'm going to say no.
And as usual, here I am, the centrist. I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to answer this real quick. I think that, like, again, if it were to make 30 million opening weekend, I would consider that to be a disappointment. And I think that, like, the boycotters will use this against Scream in the franchise and say, see, it lost 15 million. Our boycott worked. Haha, suckers. I would be disappointed if it made 30. I say that, but that sounds so entitled. Like, imagine any other movies making 30 million and thinking, oh, that's a disappointment.
In part 7.
In part 7, exactly. So I think that, like, if it made 30, it would be disappointing. I think the low end would be 35, 36, 37, 38. That's like the minimum. I think, like Anthony said, I think that 40 to 50 is the range it's going to hit. If things go as planned, if things are a success, if things go off without a hitch, I think it could make 50. I think that is its best day, is 50. I'm going to go 45. I'm going to say it inches above Scream 6. And you know what? You got to have faith, Amar. You do.
No. I do have faith, but what I'm also looking at is that maybe there's a part of me in the back of my mind subconsciously where maybe there are a lot of people that will boycott it, I don't know. I'm hopeful that won't make an impact, but with Scream 6, there was no negativity in that sense, in the whole Scream fandom.
Really?
No.
What about Neve Campbell not being in it?
No, I know, but then Neve Campbell, what I mean is when Neve Campbell wasn't there, you didn't get people that loved Neve Campbell saying, we're not going to watch it. We're going to boycott Scream 6. Whereas obviously you've got people that are supporting Melissa that will say that. So, I've got subconsciously, I've got that in the back of my mind. I hope it's just, pessimism that will get brushed aside and it does make 47, 48 million. If it makes 30 million, yeah, I get why you're saying it's a disappointment, but who knows? Let's just say the lower end of the scale, it hits that. But what if it's got longevity? What if it does go on for a while? I honestly believe overall, the final box office will be bigger than Scream 6.
Yeah. No, I think that it will too. And honestly, let's just say it does make 30 million. That's not going to prevent Scream 8. We're still going to keep chugging along here. I mean, fucking Hard Eyes is getting a sequel. So, I mean, like, if Hard Eyes made a sequel, it made $18 million. Like, we're going to be okay.
Well, this is the thing, because I was talking to someone about this, and people were like, "Oh, I know what you did last summer was a failure," but that made 64 million on an 18 million budget. So people have to take that into consideration. Thanksgiving wasn't a huge blockbuster, but that's getting a sequel. So if Scream makes 30 million its opening weekend, it will definitely keep going. I know it will. Scream has life in it, whereas these other films don't. So, I suppose you're right. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just go for it. It'll make 45 million. There we go.
I think I'm gonna inch up. I'm gonna say 47. Amar, you kind of referenced like IMAX and the people, and your people like IMAX. Well, our people also like IMAX. We're dumb Americans are like, ooh, shiny. So, and IMAX is more expensive. So, I mean, like, bring in the money. Anthony, any thoughts?
No, let's have Neve Campbell lead us to the biggest opening weekend in their franchise history, just so we can say, yeah, our girl did that.
And the thing is, like, I have to believe, and this is going to make me sound like such a hippie, I don't care. I have to believe that, Neve Campbell and Kevin Williamson coming back, weathering this bad PR, which, in all likelihood, I bet Neve Campbell and Kevin Williamson don't even think about this in the same way that
she doesn't, for sure.
The online fans do. They probably just think of this as like a little blip and they're just going on with their lives. And that's probably how the world thinks of it. Like, sometimes I've tried to explain what happened with Melissa Barrera to normal people out in the world. And I feel like that, like, there's like that gif of like the guy with like the papers behind him and he has a crazy look. Like, that's how I feel when explaining this very online thing to people. And I feel like it's only fair on a karma standpoint for Scream 7, starring Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, her big return, to be the largest box office in the franchise. Like, it feels right, again, to quote Sam Carpenter. But, and here's the other thing too. I also have to believe that all these people who are posting what they think are spoilers for the film on Twitter, and it's really bad, guys. Like, if you are looking at, I'm not a spoiler purist. Like, I'm not scared by spoilers. I'm not like one of those people that mutes everything. Like, but I will say, in good faith, stay the fuck off of Twitter. There are people who are posting things that some are true, some are not true. We don't know. We won't know until the movie comes out. But it's a really dark place for spoilers. Like, people are going into and replying to tweets of fans, tweets of like The Hollywood Reporter, tweets of Scream itself, just posting spoilers, trying to ruin it for the fans, which doesn't make sense to me. Again, how are you punishing the studio? That's not part of your boycott. You're just spreading meanness, right? I don't believe that people are entitled to be abusive or petulant against others like that. And, posting spoilers like that and trying to ruin something that people enjoy for fun, that doesn't make you an activist. It makes you a fucking asshole. So I have to believe that there is some karmic justice justice in this, where people are being so hateful and people have been so awful to, me personally, to Neve Campbell, other fans. It's just been a very horrible situation, and it's just like there has to be some leveling up. So again, I sound like a hippie, but again, karma, do your thing.
Well, ever since Twitter became X, I've kind of lost interest, and I haven't gone on to that platform for about 6 months. I'm all Instagram at the moment, so I think people should stay away from it. I mean, they try to do that with Six as well, but now I've seen all the hate on Twitter, and it's just abysmal. And like you said, you're not an activist if you're spreading hate. You're a dickhead, basically. So,
And Amar, have you seen any spoilers on Facebook or on Instagram?
nope, not one. And I hate spoilers.
It's just like, it's amazing to me that that Twitter is so toxic as it pertains to Melissa Barrera, her fandom, the boycott, this activism, whatever. Yet it's nowhere else. It's just on Twitter. It's so weird. Anthony, what are your thoughts?
It's just ridiculous at this point. It's like, move on, get a job. Like, these people who are bored and doing nothing, and that their life is literally to ruin this for people who are excited about something. It's like, if that's what makes you feel accomplished, then that's saying more about you than any of us. So we're going to love it no matter what and enjoy it, and just block out all that noise, everybody. And mute it. If you really are one of those people who are like, I cannot know anything about this movie or whatever, just mute it or stay off Twitter. Just go have fun somewhere else on social media.
Exactly.
We're almost there.
So let's talk about the Kevin featurette. So this dropped Wednesday last week, I believe. And man, I have to say, this is what I've been waiting for the entire time as it pertains to the legacy of Scream 7 and why it's so important that Kevin is the one in creative control. I think that this TV spot nailed it. It's like everything that Neve, Kevin, Jasmine, Mason, Isabel.
I think it is everybody, yeah.
So it's a good mix. We have, the original star, we have the new star, we have the 5 and 6 stars, all representing Kevin telling his story, Kevin referencing Wes, seeing images of Kevin from 1996 on set with Drew Barrymore, seeing him direct Neve Campbell here, and Jasmine and Mason. It's kind of an amazing thing. I have to say, this is my favorite personal thing that we've gotten from Scream 7 so far. And we also learn that Sidney officially has changed her last name, and she is Sidney Evans from this featurette. So, Amar, what say you on the Kevin Williamson featurette?
Everything you said, I remember thinking when I was watching it, I was like, look who they've got to, speak about Kevin. And then I've always loved when they show behind the scenes, when the directors are directing them and you've got the spotlights on them and you can see what they're feeling and stuff. And I just felt what you could tell that Kevin was so passionate about doing this. Like, it is his baby, technically, because he started it all. He wrote the first script, and he mentions it. I wrote 1, 2, 4, so he knows what he's doing. And as we think, we know that he had writing credit, so he's obviously changed stuff to make it his film, and not just, the writers of Scream 5 and 6 who obviously need some lesson in writing stuff. Well, they do. I love those two films. I love 5 and 6, but come on. There's certain things in there I was just like, please, you need a better writer. But the featurette was fantastic. I've always loved behind the scenes stuff. And just to see how passionate he is, I'm at ease that he has at least something. He will create something that will be special. Whether it'll be the best one, I doubt that, just because the original trilogy is so iconic. But I want it to be up there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that you said. Before I go over to Anthony, Amar, what are your thoughts on the fact that Sidney's name is in fact Sidney Evans? Man, this is going to be a hard habit for me to break, because every time I do an Instagram post, I type Prescott and I'm like, should I be typing Evans? I don't know.
No, I think we should. Obviously, it's iconic because, that's who she's always been. But she's decided, and it's clever, because Sidney Evans isn't a name that Ghostface Killer would know. It's Sidney Prescott they're looking for. So it's a smart thing on her part to change her name. But yeah, it doesn't sound right. I get that much. Prescott is Prescott at the end of the day. But listen, she married the man and she's taken his name, so good for her.
You know what I like? I like seeing Sidney happy. I like her also camouflaging herself and protecting her children, but not using Prescott. But it's so cool. And like the way that I'm seeing this, if we do get a full trilogy with Sidney, like we want Scream 7, 8, and 9 to be a complete thing. It could happen. I think Scream 1, 2, and 3, that's the Sidney Prescott trilogy. Scream 7, 8, and 9, that's the Sidney Evans trilogy. And that's how we will differentiate them for years to come on this podcast, if these do in fact materialize. Anthony, what are your thoughts on the Kevin featurette and Sidney's official last name?
The featurette gave me children. It was so sweet. I love that Neve obviously introduced him. It's like I always wanted him to direct a Scream movie, and I love seeing him and Wes together because this also shuts up people that, this is Kevin's baby just as much as Wes's. So you can say whatever you want about his experience directing, but he's been, like Amar said, he's been in the industry writing and being on sets forever, and Scream is literally his babies. We're in good hands. I love that Isabel May said, I wouldn't want to be a part of any other Scream movie. That was very sweet to end on that. And I think you got your throwback to Scream 3 with the Sidney Evans of it all. She changed her name in Scream 3. Obviously, she literally changed it for protection, but I think it's smart because it's going to be useful to Ghostface as well to be like, we all know you're not Sidney Evans. You'll always be Sidney Prescott. It's going to be fun to play on that, but it makes sense for her to try to move on with her new family and take that last name after all of the trauma, but we all know that it's going to be used, and she's always going to be Sidney Prescott, and she will be, Prescott in the movie. But I think it's smart, and like you said, I didn't even think about like that, a new trilogy to separate both of them. I like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautifully said. And I think, again, I just want to reiterate, the Kevin featurette is so beautiful. Was it you, Anthony, that pointed out to me that you have like all these different generations speaking to Kevin?
Yeah, I like that. I love Jasmine and Mason giving, all paying respect to him because, again, everyone, I myself, we all love Wes, but Kevin does not get enough credit for creating the franchise.
And people, it was so funny. This is how you know people are crazy. I got several messages from people being like, where was Courtney Cox in the Kevin featurette? It was sad that she wasn't there, but, I think the idea of having kind of like, an original 5 and 6 and then Isabel, the Scream 7 cast, I thought that's perfect. It gives such a wide array of what Kevin means to all these different groups of people. So I think I think it was a nice selection, but I think every word that Neve said, that Kevin said, was beautiful and poetic. I literally have no notes on this featurette. It is perfection. Perfect. So in addition to that featurette, this wasn't the only Neve and Kevin loving that we got this past week. We saw Neve and Kevin photographed together in Los Angeles underneath one of the Scream 7 billboards, which is, this was so fun. So Kevin Williamson himself posted this last Friday. Amar, what are our thoughts?
It's cute. It's smart. It shows that they're obviously taking this seriously. They're in love with this film. They're in love with the franchise, and they're just being playful. And it's just wonderful to see them hanging out like friends. And it's marketing without really marketing. It's just really clever. And obviously people are following it, and they'll be like, "Wow!" Because I think someone in our chat, the Patreon chat, put the billboard up first, and I was like, wow, we don't have stuff like that in England, not billboards like that. That was crazy. And then to see Kevin and Neve Campbell go under the same billboard and take a picture was just icing on the cake. So I just think it's the marketing is so clever in every single way, and they've done it really well. I always had faith. He says.
To me, it's like reiterating the message. It's message discipline. It's like, this is Scream 7. This is why you should see it. This is what the movie is. It's Kevin Williamson, Neve Campbell, the originals returning. It's just the repetition of this is so important. This is how you sell a movie. And it's just warm. This is a picture that most fans would have dreamed of having. Imagine if I said to everybody in 2020 during the pandemic, before we even got Scream 5, in 2020, we're going to see Neve Campbell and Kevin Williamson standing under a billboard for Scream 7, I think we would all be beside ourselves. So, Anthony, what are your thoughts on the photo?
I'm so jealous I don't get to drive every day and see that billboard. It's just, the excitement's there. We have people pulling over in LA to take pictures of a billboard for a movie. That doesn't happen for all these other horror franchises. And as far as Neve and Kevin go, I think it just shows the partnership, not just creative, but the love they have and the care they have about these characters and this franchise. So again, it just shows that they're in it together and they're very excited to release it to the world.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you mentioned the billboards. Not only do we have billboards, but we have benches that have the Scream 7 poster, Ghostface, the Burn It All Down. It's kind of going wild in LA. I know there's a lot of people there. I assume this type of marketing will expand into the other states as we get closer, but it's so fun. So, our producer for the podcast, he does the graphic design work. By the way, he texted me. He asked, when does this episode go out? He made the graphic. TJ Jones, everybody. And I said, well, we're literally about to hop on and record. And I didn't tell him who I was recording with, but he said, tell my man Anthony. I said hi. He just assumed that Anthony was here. And Amara's like, what the hell, right? Amara's like, fuck this shit. I've been here since episode 3.
Yeah, I need to have words with this TJ. Yeah.
Well, TJ was kind enough to stop and take photos for me to post on Instagram. I mean, for also for himself, but like, I was able to post and like it just share with the world some really nice high quality photos. So thank you, TJ. I also need to give a shout out to my friend Justin over from Epic Film Guys. He was actually the first person to post the Scream 7 billboard in LA. He invited me as a collaborator, and I got to kind of ride the wave with him as this post on Instagram and made its rounds through Kevin Williamson, through Bloody Disgusting, through Dread Central, through all of the major publications. Justin was the main source. So we love that for Epic Film Guys. So just as we kind of round out the discussion here, there's also just been some crazy, like busy stuff happening in LA as it pertains to Scream 7. Neve Campbell was at the premiere of The Lincoln Lawyer. She was rocking a leather jacket, very Sidney Prescott. She was asked about Scream 7 on the red carpet by different news outlets, but she also has really, really long hair down past her shoulders, longer than Scream 5, longer than it was back in 2022. And I'm just wondering, could this look be the look of Sidney Prescott in Scream 8? Amar, what are your thoughts?
I think so. I think, Sydney had long hair in the first one, and obviously she got it cut. And I like that there's a change, and each film has a different look, and they wouldn't go back to this one. It would be an expansion of Sidney Prescott. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Don't get me on Courtney Cox because, she is my dream girl. But I think, why can't they just film Scream 8 and 9 together?
Yeah.
Did we mention this the other day, Ryan, when we were talking? I think we did. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
That would be ideal, just to know we have 2 more coming, just to know that it's going to be complete. But everybody, please watch The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. It comes out tomorrow, February 5th. Neve Campbell is back as the lead actress. She wasn't in season 3, so it's season 4. So everyone, please tune in. This is the month of Neve Campbell. This is her career renaissance, right? So, Anthony, what are your thoughts on anything Neve as it relates to the premiere of The Lincoln Lawyer?
I think she's so professional. I love it. And as far as her hair goes, she looks great. She always looks great. I do think that would be a good hairstyle for 8 just because she's had a different hairstyle in every other movie.
So in addition, we also got news that Matthew Lillard is teaming up with, Scream, but specifically they're using Matthew Lillard as the figurehead for Macabre Vodka. So there's going to be a specific Ghostface vodka that you can sign up, get on a wait list for. It's going to be a collector's item. There's going to be like little Ghostface glasses that come with it. Limited edition, signed by Matthew Lillard. So this is so fun. I'm definitely getting this. I don't care if it's $700. I'm getting this. Anthony, thoughts?
On the waiting list, I'll be getting it. I love it. I can't wait.
And Amar, we know you don't drink, but...
Well, I don't drink, and I don't even think they're out in the UK anyway. So, and this is what I moan about all the time in the group chat. I mean, I'm sure your Patreons are like, does Amar even like Americans? I'm just like, you Americans get all the good stuff. But yeah, no, I've seen the bottle. It looks amazing.
So, in addition to Americans getting all the good stuff, we have gotten the AMC, Cinemark, blah, blah, blah. Every movie theater chain is finally starting to release their popcorn buckets, their drink cups of Ghostface. The AMC popcorn bucket in particular, it's like the Sidney Prescott, I think, bedroom door, and Ghostface is kind of like in the middle between like the door and the wall, and like the chain's broken. I guess that would have been the front door, so I guess that's the front door in Sidney's house. But what do we think of all of the marketing here of like the popcorn buckets? Are we gonna get them?
Right, bro, listen, okay, and now I'm officially jealous, right? I remember when Scream 6 came out and you had that Ghostface popcorn bucket, and I looked and I went, there's about 4 different main cinema chains in Leeds, or around Leeds where I am. And what I've noticed recently, though, is that I went to one and they had this Zootopia bucket, and it was really good. It's the best thing I've ever seen. I purchased it for myself, and honestly, I went there, my kids got really excited. My 7-year-old, is that for me? I was like, no, it's mine. And I brought it home. But different cinemas had a different type of Zootopia one. And then Avatar did the same. Tron Ares did the same. So I am praying that, even Anaconda got one. Right? There's a popcorn bucket with a massive snake head, and I'm like, why have I not seen that before? I would have purchased it. So I'm going to go to every single cinema on opening weekend and see what they have and buy it. And if it's not there, then Ryan, you and I have a secret pact, right? You're going to send me them. I'll pay for shipping. Yes. But I don't know. I don't know how big Scream is in terms of merchandise, because we don't seem to get a lot. But however, last year We got hoodies and tops and stuff around Halloween. So I'm hoping that we'll get something. And I don't want it to be a pesky little cup. I want it to be something big. Because I've seen the one that they're getting in Spain or Mexico or something, and I was really jealous. I was like, you guys are getting everything in America.
So I don't expect you guys to understand, but the gay men listening to the podcast just heard Amar say, "We got tops," and I'm like, interesting. But so, it's funny because, the AMC Wicked stuff, like the cups and the popcorn buckets, oh my God, I probably spent $200 at AMC that Thursday night because I wanted my sister to have the cups. I wanted the cups. It was really important to me. I don't know what, I've never done this before. So obviously I'm going to go hog wild here with the Scream 7 merch. Anthony, what about you?
I love that all the different chains have different buckets and cups, and they're marketing the movie too, and they're putting stuff out there. So again, it just helps so much. And I will be getting the AMC one when I go to see it the first day it comes out. I got the I know the movie, whatever, but I got the I Know We Did Last Summer one, and I'm obsessed with this, so I can't wait to add Scream to my collection.
Can I just ask, how much are these popcorn buckets anyway?
Expensive. Look around in between, I would say $40. I think the I Know We Did Last Summer was like $40.
Yeah.
$40, okay.
With the Wicked ones, again, I literally spent $200. I was like, this is obscene. I didn't want Abby to not have the cups. So it's like, but I wanted the cups. I didn't want her to use my cups. So you do what you got to do. So one last little piece of marketing I want to discuss before we do kind of a wrap up is a couple of weeks ago, Ghostface made an appearance at the UFC match thing. I don't know the proper term. Again, gay, not my thing, but I am so happy about this. Like some patrons reached out to me and said that they thought it was cringy. I, however, don't mind this. I think it's awesome. And again, if Megan 2.0 appealed too much to the very online people and it made no money, we should learn something from this. And we should go to places, which to some people it may feel cringy, but we have to go outside of the bubble that we live in and appeal to normal, everyday folk who aren't our friends, So I think that it was wonderful that Ghostface had an appearance at UFC. Oh, Anthony, you're shaking your head.
It's important that the studio is trying to appeal to all these different demographics and group of people because that's going to bring in the most, general public opening weekend and in theaters. So they're doing the right thing. And I think it's fun. I mean, why? It's not cringy. It's fun. I think I like seeing Ghostface pop around everywhere.
Agreed. Amar?
Bro, UFC is so popular worldwide. It's mental. You don't, for people that aren't aware of it, like when when Ryan just said, Atch thing, I was like, yeah, of course he doesn't know. But, it's really, really popular. And what people can see as Scream, you have to understand that even people that aren't Scream fans or that don't watch all the films know who Ghostface is. He is an iconic figure. The voice of Roger Jackson is very, very popular. I think it was smart to do that, and it's almost as big as what the WWE is in a way, because UFC has a massive appeal. And all my friends, none of them have seen Scream or not since Scream 1. Even they watch UFC and they're like, oh, so there's another Scream film coming out, So it's appealing to everyone, yeah.
Literally, there is this dad who lives in my neighborhood, and he saw me out walking, and he said, "Hey, you like Screamer?" I saw that there was like the mask was on. I was like, "Holy shit!" So this is reaching people. I love it, love it. So I think it's wonderful, and I think the more the merrier. Appeal to as many fucking people as possible. So to wrap up, I'm gonna get Amar and Anthony. I have just like 2 questions for them. Wish list. If you guys could have 1 or 2 things that aren't the typical thing, not just, oh, I want to go see a good Sidney story. We know, okay? If you could have something on your wish list for Scream 7 where it's like you say it and it's done. So like for me, I'll give an example. My wish list, like a number 1 item for me, and it's something very silly, after the title card, after the opening scene. For me, if we go to Tatum, I'm going to be disappointed. I want to see Sidney first, even if it's for 10 seconds, and then we go to Tatum. I need to see Sidney right after the title card. That's my number 1 thing on my wish list. So, Anthony, what's on yours?
I need to see Sidney and Gale deal with Dewey and discuss it. And I'm sure they will after Dewey taunts them, in this movie, I'm assuming. And I need more taunting and chasing, and I don't need people stabbed 8,000 times and living. Those are my 3 very basic things. I want a thrilling, suspenseful movie that leads up to the kills. I don't just want a quick attack and be done with every kill. I know some of them are going to be that, but I want to feel the suspense of Wes Craven again.
Yeah. Amar, what about you?
I'm just going to go to the end and I'm going to say, look, I don't give a shit about motive at this point, because you have to come to a point where you think, well, Sydney's been through it all. She's had a boyfriend after her. She's had the boyfriend's mother. She's had her half sibling. She's had her cousin. What other motive, unless there's something in the past that we don't know about? What I do want, though, is a good killer acting. I don't want a Wayne is it Detective Bailey? I don't want an Amber Freeman. I don't, I want a Mickey. I want a Billy. I want even a Jill Roberts. I want a Mrs. Loomis. I want someone that is unhinged, but not a caricature. I don't, like I said, I don't care really. Obviously, I don't expect the motive to be something spectacular, but what I want is someone to just be thrilling and, scary at the same time, which we got with Billy Loomis. We even got that with Mickey at one point. Yeah, he was crazy, but so I just want good actors to play that really well. And I know it's a fine line, and I'm hoping that Kevin Williamson will be more like Wes Craven and not like Radio Silence and say, yeah, just do whatever you want, right? So that's what I'm looking for. That's something I want.
So, you know what I want really bad? And I know, okay, I want Anna Camp to be the killer. I love Anna Camp so much. And, given the cast list that we have, I will be disappointed if she isn't one of the killers.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right. So, guys, I've asked you a million times, literally on the podcast, but, for old time's sake, where do we think Scream 7 is going to fall in our ranking? And I'm making a rule. We're actually going to wait until April to update our ranking officially, just because people lost their minds with Scream 6. Like, one of my friends, he ranked Scream 6 second after Scream 2. I'm like, girl, calm the shit down. So where do we think April 1st Scream 7 is going to be in our ranking? After we've seen it, we've had time to digest it, but the buzz isn't overwhelming our brains. So, Amar, what say you?
Middle. I think it'll be original trilogy, number 7, and then whatever 4, 5, and 6 land. So I really do. I expect it to be very good. I really do, from what I've seen and the promotion and the trailers and the TV spots and everything. And, Neve Campbell's come back and she's had more input and everything. And Kevin Williamson's there and he's written it. So I really do, but I just can't see it topping the original trilogy. I want it to, but I think it'll be right bang in the middle.
Okay. Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, I hope my ranking is going to be 2, 1, 3, 7, 4, 5, 6 after it comes out.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, or 2, 1, 3, depending on my mood. So yeah, let's go 1, 2, 3, 7, and then 4, 5, and 6. But 4, 5, and 6 switch all the time, I'm afraid.
Mr. Elastic. That's another Amar nickname people need to be aware of.
Yep.
For me, I don't know. There's a part of me that wishes Scream 7 could be number 2. I doubt. It's hard. I don't know. It depends on how good Sidney's story is. If Sidney's story is equal to Scream 3, how can I not, But will the killer be as good as Roman or as intimate as that? I don't know. Will the plot be as dimensional as Scream 3? I don't know. Okay, so my ranking prediction on the best day for Scream 7 would be 3, 7, 1, 2, 2, 1, 4, 5, space 6. The more realistic ranking prediction, I think, where my ranking is going to settle once I calm down, is 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 7, 4, 5, 6. So we have been drowning in new TV spots over the past couple of days. I can't keep track of them. There have probably been 10 TV spots released over the past couple of days. Most of them relate to footage that are in that Super Bowl ad, so I didn't feel like we should go through each individual one. But is there any moment in any of the other TV spots that you saw that you want to share? I definitely have mine. But Anthony, anything jump out that we didn't talk about?
Love seeing Courtney Cox, I would assume, walk up to Sidney's house in that one shot. I think she looks great. And I love her concern and care in that. And I also love the scene of McKenna Grace just screaming what the, something crazy is happening. And I like to see the viciousness of Ghostface in some of those spots. So I love those shots.
I kind of think that shot of Gail is actually when they go to the mental hospital.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just taking a guess. But Amar?
There's a couple that you've mentioned, not in today's episode, I'm sure you might mention, that I actually haven't seen. I'm just going to go with the opening scene, because there's a bit where Ghostface comes behind the girl. And in another shot, I've seen that she actually turns to confront him.
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to think, well, is that Ghostface, or is that the boyfriend pretending to be Ghostface and then Ghostface pops out? It's already got me thinking, because how is she running up those stairs if Ghostface is right there? So something else, I don't think the opening has fully been given to us. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, Scream 5 did something similar with the opening. We had different shots of Jenna Ortega that didn't match up with the final film. So that could be the case. And also, I want to just mention the Super Bowl TV spot. There is an amazing shot that starts out the trailer of the house burning. It's a real wide shot, long shot. We see the entire house in flames. I think it looks stunning. Okay. But I want to mention a TV spot that we got on Sunday. And it's really focused on Sidney and Tatum. There isn't so much violence in it. We see Sidney in a white cardigan almost. She's in Tatum's bedroom. I think it's just, so again, we see another outfit of Sidney. I think she looks beautiful. But more importantly, after that shot, we see Tatum kind of getting dressed, ready for school, and Sidney's on the bed watching her. And again, a look by Neve Campbell is worth 1,000 words. And it's just the beauty in that look that Neve Campbell is giving Isabel May as she's getting dressed. The motherly love that she is expressing, it just really, really touched me. And again, if Scream 7 does become my number 2 ranked film, I understand why. The Ryan Showers of before Scream 7 understands how this could happen just from that TV spot and the mother-daughter relationship there. So yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for this wonderful episode. I can't believe we talked about all of this shit, but we got it all in. And everybody, tickets go on sale on Monday after the Super Bowl. Watch the Super Bowl, see the Scream 7 ad, and of course, post about it. Also, keep track of my Instagram, Facebook posts. Anything Scream, I'm posting it. So, but everyone, tickets go on sale on Monday. Get your tickets for the fan special event to get that poster of Neve Campbell, but also, go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
I'm just so excited. The hype train's here and we have a few more weeks.
I'm so looking forward. I can't believe that we were talking about Scream 7 like in October and February is already here. So bring it, baby. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Well, and thank you to everybody out there who has been along this journey with us, along this journey with me. I'm sure at some points it wasn't easy. I'm sure it wasn't fun. But I think we're about to get one of the best movies ever in Scream. And thank you especially to Amar and Anthony who have made so many wonderful episodes with me over the last 5 years. I can't wait for the next 5 years in the Sidney Evans era. Anthony, please tell everybody where they can find you online again.
Yeah, you can find me at Never Split Up Podcast and just my name, Anthony Puzo, on all social media. Thank you, guys.
And Michelle Visage, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Amar Ali Kareem, all one word.
All right, everybody, thank you so much. We will see you on Friday for another episode of Scream with Ryan C. Showers. Thank you.
All copyrighted material used or referenced in this show belong to the rightful owners and made possible by the Fair Use Act.
And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
Get another beer, you want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!
Dear God, Ryan,